announced the commencement of a $1 million lawsuit against the New England tabloid.
Trial will open your client's entire sexual history.
Are you a pornographer?
I take pictures of women.
They have a picture of Colleen. It wasn't supposed to be dirty.
We give the public what it wants. Titillation.
Troubled sexual past. They know everything.
Once this starts, there is no stopping it.
You're manipulating her. Furthermore, this is all about your ego.
You're walking a pretty thin line, Mrs. Hanrahan.
We have diet soda and tonic water, coffee.
Thanks, you're very kind.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late. I had a hearing and it went much longer than I thought it would. You're
Maureen Hanrahan.
Simon McKeith.
And this is my daughter, Colleen. Pleased to meet you, Mr. McKeith.
You too. It's not every day you get to meet Miss New England.
That's it.
Please, don't tell anyone.
Everything that happens here will be strictly confidential. I'm sorry about the furniture. You caught us in the middle of redecorating.
Postmodern?
Kind of a minimalist thing. So, come on in. Hold all my calls. So how can I help you? Great literature. What's it got to do with you?
They called us yesterday.
Who called you?
A reporter. Her name was Denise Campbell.
What did she want?
They have a picture of Colleen.
Nude?
Yes. And quite suggestive.
How did they get it?
Tell the man, Colleen.
A few years ago, when I was still in school, there was this photographer I knew who was trying to break into the business. It wasn't supposed to be, you know, dirty. It was supposed to be artistic. That's what he had said. He promised me $1,000 to do it.
And so you did?
I needed the money. It's for something very important. He said that he just wanted these photos to show some editors, and he promised me that no one else would ever see them.
What do you want from me?
Well, is there any way to stop them from publishing?
You're seeking prior restraint.
What?
Prior restraint, it's a legal term for preventing someone from exhibiting a photograph or making a broadcast.
Yes, prior restraint.
It's nearly impossible to get in almost every case. It's censorship, really. And we have very narrow rights in that regard. Besides, I'm probably not the attorney for the job.
But why not?
Well, it's a freedom of the press issue. We live in a democracy, no matter what you may have heard to the contrary, and it's a position I happen to agree with.
But this is trash.
I know, but legally there's not much I can do for you.
Doesn't it matter to you who gets hurt?
More than you might think. But at this point, I can't really do anything.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Phil, what do you think of McKee's taste in literature?
Looks like that broad we busted in the combat zone last week.
The one with the 6 sailors.
Yeah, she thought she was Miss America.
Hey, McKee, how'd you like a little of that?
Those impure thoughts are making them hard of hearing.
No, relax, boys. I'm just making campaign plans.
For what?
I'm running for governor on the Blue Nose ticket. We're going to stamp out smut wherever it rears its ugly head.
Talking to a stranger about things that should be kept private.
She's a doctor, Mother. She's not gonna tell.
Oh, right. Just like that photographer who wouldn't sell those pictures of you laid on your back with everything hanging out.
I am sorry.
Are you aware of just how much trouble you've caused? This rag has ruined our life.
Our life?
Yes, our life. I only had one thing in my life. You. I devoted every minute of my life to you. I sacrificed everything. My marriages, my career, everything. So that you could be a success, so that we could have a good life. And what thanks do I get? You just threw it all away. It's over. Everything.
Mom.
Troubled sexual past. They know everything. Colleen? Colleen? Colleen, open the door! Colleen! Colleen, what have you done?
Feel horrible about it.
Not responsible for other people's actions.
You've been going to therapy again?
Hi, Mom. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Chelsea, this is Mr. McKee.
Hi, Chelsea. You can call me Matt.
You're the one that knows Miss New England.
News travels fast.
Well, we heard on TV they might take her crown away.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Why did she try and kill herself? She's so pretty.
Well, honey, sometimes people have problems. It doesn't really matter what they look like.
Is he coming to our house?
Not today, but he might visit us. I'm a little early. You still have time. Why don't you go back and play with Heather a little longer, and we'll be right around the corner on the bench, okay?
I don't want want to play anymore.
Chels, come on. We need to talk about grown-up things. We'll be right over there.
Well, looks like I struck out with your kid.
It's not personal. She just doesn't want any more upset in the house.
Yeah, it reminds me of my house. She's so beautiful, Samantha.
Beauty is a dubious blessing. I worry about her.
Yeah, well, it beats being ugly.
Hey, I wasn't joking.
Sorry?
No, I mean, do you know what it's like for a girl, for a woman? Never knowing if people like you for who you are or just because you're some sort of ornament. I mean, do you know what that can do to your values or to your ego?
Yeah, I guess you're right. So I shouldn't feel too responsible for Colleen Hanrahan?
She obviously was a very troubled young lady long before she walked into your office.
Yeah. But you keep telling me not to separate my head and my heart.
So go ahead. Have compassion for her. See if you can help her now if you can. But, take off the hair shirt.
Hey, I'm a lapsed Catholic. The Father, Son, and the Holy Guild.
Oh.
Hey, McKee, what are you doing here?
Checking in for a lobotomy. Why?
Yeah, I couldn't have anything to do with Miss New England, could it?
No comment, Jerry.
So Colleen Hanrahan isn't your client?
Not the last time I checked.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid our statement must of necessity be brief. As you know, Miss Hanrahan was admitted today for a condition we are not at liberty to disclose. She's now in good condition and should be released soon. Thank you.
Come on, Liz. Call that a statement.
Hey, where do you think you're going, McKee?
Shaughnessy. Haven't you lost weight since the last time I saw you?
Answer the question, Counselor.
I'm right down the hall to see my client there.
Mac, I've always had some respect for you. I didn't think you were like one of these barracudas.
Give me a break, okay? Don't I recall a time about 6 or 7 years ago, your kid got popped for buying that nickel bag?
Typical shyster. Never forgets a marker. Look, she's in seclusion. Strict orders.
Okay, look. Just give her my card with this note on it, all right?
You swear she's your client?
On your mother's grave.
Hey, my mother ain't dead.
We could work on that.
All right, why don't you give it to her yourself?
You big lug.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. McKeith, what do you want?
Came by to apologize. I didn't want you to think that I'd acted cavalierly the other day.
You didn't do anything wrong.
So, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Physically.
Guess you feel pretty violated, huh?
Like I've been raped. I just feel so powerless.
Look, I'm not trying to sell you a bill of goods or push you into anything, but you're probably not as powerless as you feel you are. It's really up to you what you want to do.
What are my options?
Well, you could bring a suit. There's a couple of legal grounds.
And then there'd be a whole trial and everything.
No, not necessarily. Possibly we could settle out of court.
Oh, no, you don't.
Mom.
What are you doing here?
Mrs. Hanrahan, I just came to...
You came to what? Chase ambulances? I thought our case wasn't good enough for you. But we don't need you now, excuse me.
Believe me, Mrs. Hanrahan.
Look, two people walk into your office and say they need help, real help, and you give them some song and dance about the First Amendment.
Look, as I was just explaining to Colleen...
I don't want you talking to my daughter. She almost died because of you.
Mom, please.
Shut up, Colleen. I'll handle this. Now, I want you to get out of here before I call security. Now.
Let me know what you decide, Colleen.
Nice baby. Which kind is it?
It's a girl. Look, Mr.
Miggs.
Mr. Miggs, I already told you. I am not going to reveal my source. First Amendment.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I understand. And it's probably somebody close to the Hanrahans.
Maybe somebody at the pageant.
How did you find me, anyway?
I never reveal my sources, Mrs. Campbell.
It's Ms. Campbell. I'm divorced.
Oh, yeah? So am I. Hey, can I hold the baby?
What?
The baby, can I hold her? It's been a long time. I kind of miss it.
Come on, sweetheart. Be careful, please. Come on in.
Hello. Oh, hello.
Yes.
Look at you.
You know, Mr. Miggs, that beauty queen of yours is not so innocent. I mean, you saw the pictures.
Hey, we all do things we regret, don't we?
Tell me about it. You know, 12 years ago, I was an intern at the Globe. I was fresh out of college. I made a couple of bad decisions. Now I got 3 kids, and I am trying to raise them on any freelance gig I can get. So please don't ask me to pity some prom queen who cannot keep her shirt on.
Hey, why don't you keep your shirt on, all right? It's not you my boss is after, it's the paper.
You know, if you start messing with the Tatler's First Amendment rights, pretty soon you're going to be messing with your own.
Hey, just let me ask you one thing. Maybe I just didn't understand this. In your article, you referred to her troubled sexual past. What do you mean by that?
She's your client, and she didn't tell you about the incest?
Is this true?
Yes. But I still want to go through with it if we can.
We can. There's invasion of privacy for starters. You weren't a public figure when the photograph was taken. You didn't sign a release, which means it was intended only for private use. And it was done, what, 6 years ago?
Yeah, that's right.
You were 17, a minor. We can also get them on defamation of character.
What is that exactly?
Any untrue statement that damages your reputation.
Damaged? I think they ruined it.
Yeah, they did. But if we can prove what they printed was untrue, we can nail them. But I don't want to mislead you, Colleen. This is a very tricky case. It could go either way. If we're going to proceed, I have to set a couple of conditions.
All right.
First of all, finances. I put up all the expenses to pay for preparation of the trial. But if we win, I get 1/3 of everything you receive.
And if we lose?
It's a wash.
Well, that's more than fair.
Secondly, if you don't tell me all of the details, I won't be able to win the case. They call it sexual abuse for a reason, you know? It's because you were a victim.
When I was 12 years old, my stepfather molested me. He'd come into my room, get into my bed. You know. It went on almost every night for 3.5 years.
Did your mother know?
What do you think?
Okay. There's something else you have to think about very carefully. All of the intimate details will become public knowledge. It'll be in the tabloids, on TV, in the press. Everywhere you go, they will pull out all the stops.
It's funny, isn't it? I'm accusing them of invading my privacy. And to win, I've got to reveal everything that I've been wanting to hide.
It's not funny.
No, it isn't. Man, you make one stupid mistake. I used my looks to pay for some help.
Are you saying you posed for the photographs so that you could get into therapy? Okay. There's one other thing. Once this starts, there is no stopping it. Maybe you should just go home and think about it.
Oh, no, I thought about it a lot. I want to do it.
What about your mother?
Well, it's between her and me.
It's a deal.
Ladies and gentlemen, the It gives me great pleasure to award the title of Miss New England to Boston's own Kathy Denova.
Excuse me.
What is this? Not now.
Hello, I'm Simon McKeith, attorney for Colleen Hanrahan, the rightful Miss New England.
What the hell are you doing, McKeith?
These are notices of a deposition. Excuse me. I'm here to announce the commencement of a $1 million lawsuit against the New England tabloid.
What's the meaning of this?
That's a very good question, sir. It's about invasion of privacy and defamation of character. This concludes the opening of our program. Please stay with us for the continuation of the festivities.
Mr. Jameson's going to need a reservation for 8 o'clock.
Yes, I'd like to make a reservation for tonight. Excuse me, sir.
You can't go in there. Who are you?
Subpoena, Jameson.
You could have left it with the secretary. I get these all the time.
Yeah, but my boss wanted me to see the look on your face when I served it.
McKeith? Oh, yes. He's that chap that gave that rather grand performance at the press conference. You look like the kind of man he would employ. Your name, sir?
Miggs. That's M-E-I-G-S. Miggs.
Please, do take a seat, Mr. Miggs. Your employer's little grandstand on the television was rather impressive.
You'll be so happy to know you approve.
Although I must say, $1 million does seem like an extraordinary amount of money. Are you sure you chaps have the goods?
I guess you'll find that out soon enough now, won't you?
Yes, I expect I shall. How much money do you make annually, Mr. Miggs?
What concern is that of yours?
Well, I admire your style, barging in here like this. You are, as you Americans would say, my kind of guy.
What the hell are you driving at?
I'm always looking for good investigators.
You're really something else, you know that?
You might also tell your boss that my house counsel, Frank Hilden, is moving on to pastures greener next month. I rather sense your Mr. McKeith might be the ideal candidate to replace him. Have him give me a call.
There's nothing subtle about you, is there, pal?
We're all kindred spirits, Mr. Miggs.
No, Jameson. You are, as you English call it, a bloody bastard.
I would also like you to inform your boss that this is simply a business, nothing more. You Yanks do revere business, do you not? We give the public what it wants, true to the creed of laissez-faire capitalism.
Tell me something, Jameson. Exactly what is it the public wants?
Escape. They're fed up with reality. News of war, news of crime, news of economic doom. They want titillation.
Man, you are amazing.
If your Mr. McKeith's lovely client didn't want the heat, she should have stayed out of the spotlight. Would you mind telling me what you're doing?
Just taking a little inventory here. Unless I miss my guess, one of these days soon, Colleen Hanrahan's gonna own all of this stuff. See ya.
Be seeing you.
Mr. Nova, do you know the whereabouts of a Jeff Smathers?
Who?
Jeffrey Smathers, the photographer.
No, I don't know where he is.
But then you must know him. Is that correct?
Yes, I've met him.
Mr. Nova, can you tell me why Mr. Hilden here is representing you and the New England Tattler?
Objection. Not relevant.
Okay. Can you tell me if you received a set of photographs from Jeffrey Smathers of Colleen Hanrahan? Answer the question, please. Remember, you're under oath.
Yes.
Did you give said photographs to a reporter named Denise Campbell?
Objection. The identity of the paper's source is privileged.
But we're not talking to the paper here, Mr. Hilden. We're talking to the source. You're the source, aren't you, Mr. Nova?
Don't answer that. McKeith, we're terminating the deposition pending a judge's ruling.
Fine by me.
All right, Kathy, we're finished.
Mr. Hilden, you ever consider a career change? Something in the food service industries, maybe?
Mr. McKeith.
Filled in.
Moment of your time.
I'm running late.
Nice if we could set aside the animosity. Perhaps after today it won't be necessary.
What are you driving at?
Our styles may be different, yours and mine, but underneath I sense that you're a pragmatist like me.
I smell a settlement offer.
100,000. We think under the circumstances you'll find that it's a generous offer.
Circumstances?
Mr. McKeith, let me point out some facts of life and the law.
Oh, great.
First, a trial will open your client's entire sexual history. That could get nasty.
I've explained that to her.
Second, you're going to lose.
Well, it's always inspiring to see confidence in a lawyer.
You know, we're dealing with some pretty basic First Amendment stuff here. Your client is a public figure. She did take off her clothes for a photographer. Nobody put a gun to her head.
Yeah, it's going to be fun making a test case out of this one.
Have it your way. Must I remind you of your obligation to convey my offer to your client?
Oh, I'll convey it.
Together with the recommendation that she refuse it.
Filled in. Now I see why Jameson pays you all the medium money.
I can see why you have a reputation for being intransigent and obdurate.
That's me, downright redundant.
If I was a man in your financial position.
My financial position?
It's a pity your difficulties with the tax people. They can be so unreasonable.
Hey, Hilden, invade my client's privacy, we go to court. Invade my privacy, and we go outside.
Keith, I'd be remiss if I didn't find out everything about my adversary. If I were in your position and working on contingency, I'd welcome a fast settlement.
See you around, pal.
I hope for your sake your client's more reasonable than you are.
Why didn't you accept the settlement?
Because Colleen asked me not to.
Colleen?
Yes, after I spoke with Hilden, I called her. She's my client, Mrs. Hanrahan.
Yeah, right. I'm aware of that. You're manipulating her. Furthermore, this is all about your ego.
My ego.
Yes. You just can't stand the idea of not rubbing Jameson's nose into the dirt, can you? Jameson and Hilden.
Let's just say that's so. Colleen still wants me to proceed.
Colleen. Or you. I mean, come on. We settle, you could get, what, 30,000? You win this trial, you could get as much as 300,000. I mean, you're not exactly prospering these days, are you?
You're walking a pretty thin line, Mrs. Hanrahan.
Well, you wouldn't be the first lawyer to put his own interests ahead of his clients. I mean, what if you lose?
I have explained the risks to her, and she would like to proceed.
I can just imagine the conversation you two had.
The conversation we had is privileged information and will remain so.
You don't have children, do you?
What's the relevance of that?
You don't know what it's like to worry about a child night and day, wondering if you're doing the best you possibly can.
Were you doing the best you possibly could when your husband was sneaking into her room? Give me a break. Spare me the Mother of the Year routine.
There's not a day goes by that I don't remember. That time. You don't know the guilt I felt.
You know, Mrs. Hanrahan, some people feel guilty because they are.
Simon. You don't know what this will do to me if it comes out in a public trial.
Does your world always revolve around you?
You better not lose.
Mr. Smathers, could you please tell the court what it is you do for a living?
I'm a photographer.
You have a specialty?
I take pictures of women.
You mean nude women?
Yes.
Are you a pornographer?
I like to think of myself as an artist.
Indeed. Did you take this photograph of Colleen Hanrahan on the cover of the New England Tatler?
That looks like some of my early work.
How old was Miss Hanrahan when she posed for this photograph?
About 17.
Oh, a minor.
Yeah, I guess she was.
Did she give you any permission to provide that photograph to outside parties?
Not that I recall.
But you did give it to Kathleen DeNova, didn't you? And several other photographs just like it, a few weeks ago.
I may have.
Well, what if I told you that she's testified in court that you indeed gave her that photograph, and she in turn gave it to the New England Tattler?
Then I guess I did.
And didn't you also tell her that the reason Colleen posed for that photograph was that she needed psychotherapy? And she needed psychotherapy because of sexual molestation by her stepfather.
I might have.
You can answer that question yes or no.
Yes.
How did you know all of these details about my client?
What?
Isn't it true that at the time you took the photograph, you were dating a young friend of Colleen's? And that friend betrayed Colleen, violated her confidence, and told you her secret.
Objection. Your Honor, counsel's on a fishing expedition.
Overruled. The witness will answer.
Yeah, that's about the way it happened.
What possessed you to reveal such intimate details about Colleen's life to Miss DeNova? Wasn't it in exchange for sexual favors?
Objection. There's no basis for this.
I'd like to hear the answer.
Mr. Smathers, we're all waiting. Did you reveal those secrets about Colleen's life for sexual favors for Miss DeNova?
That's not why I gave her the pictures, no.
But you were having a sexual relationship with her, weren't you?
Yes. That bimbo never could keep her mouth shut.
Nothing further?
Mr. Stein, is it not true a beauty pageant such as yours routinely spends a great deal of time, effort, and money courting publicity for its contestants?
Yes, sir, that is true. Publicity is the name of the game in the beauty business.
Is it not also true that the young women who enter such contests are well aware that their lives will be open to intense scrutiny by the press?
We make a very big point of stressing that, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. McKeith?
Mr. Stein, what's the official attitude of the Miss New England beauty pageant towards sex?
I don't understand the question.
I mean, are you in favor of it?
Sex? Sex was created by God. Of course we're in favor of it.
How about sex outside of marriage?
You mean sex committed by our girls?
Yes, sex committed by your girls.
Well, we have to be against that.
Is Kathy DeNova married?
If she were, she wouldn't be Miss New England.
Yeah. Nothing further.
Well, what does that have to do with this case?
Sir, you may step down.
Dr. Kingsley, how common is the problem of sexual molestation in the family home?
It's a much greater problem than anyone thought. Even though we're in the 90s, the subject is just now coming out of the dark. I'm hearing estimates that it may have happened to more than 20% of American women.
Now, as Colleen's therapist, she did waive the doctor-patient privilege, did she not?
If she hadn't, I wouldn't be testifying.
Of course. Doctor, aside from the horrible childhood victimization by her stepfather, has Colleen Hanrahan exhibited any type of improper sexual behavior?
No.
She's not promiscuous, nor addicted to perversion.
If anything, she leans toward frigidity.
Which unhappy state of affairs might have resulted from the repeated molestation by her stepfather. Is that correct?
Not might have, Mr. McKeith. It almost certainly did.
Dr. Kingsley, how long have you been Colleen's therapist?
On and off for almost 6 years.
And in your judgment, what has been the effect on Colleen of the publication of the Tattler story and the subsequent publicity?
It has caused her severe emotional harm. More harm than most people could imagine.
the witness.
Dr. Kingsley, do your impressive academic credentials include formal training in semantics?
I don't understand.
Do you consider yourself an expert in the use of words?
Not an expert, no.
But you are clearly a literate woman.
Get to the point, Mr. Hilden.
Would the expression troubled sexual past be an appropriate euphemism for the term sexual molestation?
Objection. Dr. Kingsley has already stated that she is not an expert in English usage.
Overruled.
Doctor, you seem puzzled. Let me rephrase the question. Could a woman who suffered sexual molestation as a child be appropriately categorized as having a troubled sexual past?
I suppose that's literally accurate, but...
Yeah. No further questions.
All right, gentlemen, in the absence of a jury, we'll dispense with the formalities. Let's deal with the invasion of privacy issue first, then the defamation issue. Mr. Hilden.
Your Honor, this was a beauty contest. Miss Hanrahan, an adult, knew the publicity requirements when she put herself in that spotlight for personal gain. By her own actions, she became a public figure. Now, as you know, the law gives newspapers a very wide latitude in describing the private lives of public figures. The press has an absolute right to present all pertinent information about Colleen Hanrahan to her public. There are very real First Amendment issues here. We can't be telling the New England Tatler what not to print any more than we can restrict the Boston Globe. I mean, we fought a revolution about such things.
Mr. McKeith.
First of all, Your Honor, my client was a minor when that photograph was taken. She wasn't a public figure then. She had no expectation of becoming one, and she is not one now just because she's won some local beauty contest. Secondly, the oral contract with the photographer specifically limited the use of those photographs, and that limit was violated. The founding fathers did not fight a revolution so that the owner of the New England Tatler could get rich by exploiting innocent young women.
On the issue of defamation, Mr. McKeith?
The only, quote, troubled sexual past my client has is of a victim. Yet combined with the photograph, which the Tatler acquired in such a sleazy way, the term somehow implies that she is of loose moral character. That is patently untrue. It's the combination of the words and the photograph that add up to defamation. Any casual reader would conclude that the publication possesses evidence that is somehow damaging to her good name. That's what's false. That's why she is entitled to damages.
Mr. Hilden?
Your Honor, as you know, the key element in defamation is the untruth of a statement. Now, in this case, even Miss Hanrahan's own therapist admits that the term troubled sexual past could be accurately applied to someone with a history of molestation. And the fact that Miss Hanrahan voluntarily posed for this picture is not even in question. Those are facts. You can combine them any way you want, but we are not responsible for what some hypothetical reader might interpret.
Mr. McKeith, if I were to rule in your favor, what do you suppose the long-range implications would be for freedom of the press?
Your Honor, there isn't one person in this courtroom who cherishes freedom of speech and the press more than I. But this is a balancing act, and the matter of fairness is imperative.
Fairness or censorship?
Your Honor, each case must be dealt with separately and on its own merits.
Well, gentlemen, you've both made persuasive arguments. I know we're all in a hurry to wrap this up. We'll adjourn until 2 o'clock, at which time I'll announce my decision.
All rise. Please be seated.
First of all, I want you to know that this has been a difficult case for me. Miss Hanrahan, my heart goes out to you. I agree with your attorney that you've been wronged by a number of people involved in this case. Indeed, it appears you've been wronged by a great number of people throughout your entire lifetime. But you're still young. I hope you have the strength, resolve, and good fortune, ultimately, to put those hurts behind you. I also believe, Mr. Jameson, that a newspaper has moral as well as legal responsibilities. One moral responsibility is to consider the consequences, human consequences, a story may have. But moral responsibility is not the same as legal responsibility. I believe the First Amendment protects, just barely protects, your conduct in this particular case. It does so because our commitment to open dialogue in the society has to be broad enough to be effective. In ambiguous First Amendment cases like this one, we must always decide in favor of our constitutional freedom. That means we must give every news publisher the benefit of the doubt. Mr. Jameson, I only wish we're more worthy of that protection. Verdict for the defendant in both counts.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry.
We can start an appeal. I can file the papers.
I don't want to appeal.
What do you mean?
Remember when you told me how we can't muzzle the press and how important it was to be free to say whatever we want?
Yeah.
Why do you have to go all the way to New York? You could have a career right here in Boston. I told you not to push this. Jerk McKeith, his ego was all over the place.
We did a good job.
Good job. Colleen, he lost. Not only did he lose, he dragged our name through the mud. Splashed our personal lives all over the front pages of every reputable paper in New England. All because of a personal vendetta.
That's not how it happened, and you know it.
What are you talking about?
Mother, please, shut up. Excuse me.
Maybe your mother was right. Maybe I should have taken the settlement.
There you go again. Beating yourself up.
Yeah, it's a way of life.
How did Colleen take it?
Better than I am. Maybe women are the stronger sex.
Maybe we should quit making it a contest.
Then it wouldn't be any fun.
Right. You know, maybe you didn't really lose.
What do you mean?
I mean, this girl needed to face up to herself. Maybe you helped to set her free.
Maybe. One good thing is that the pageant officials fired Stein. They're going to get someone else to run the show. And they're talking about stripping Kathy DeNova of her crown.
You really care about that part of it?
Well, for Colleen's sake, yeah. Every little bit counts. Well, well, well. Whose house is this? Should we continue our therapy session inside?
I told you Chelsea has the measles.
That's okay. I already had measles.
This is not about you.
Oh.
Mom, are you coming in?
Chelsea.
Hi, Mac.
Last night, millions watched a sneak preview of the most unique, provocative series of the year. Tomorrow night, you can experience it for yourself. Watch the season premiere of Yearbook at its regular day and time right after Totally Hidden Video. Then travel to New Jersey for an all-new episode of Cops.